Hello campers, I'm Lester. No, I am not a city, that's my name. If you're enjoying the music that you're hearing, that's good, because I was the one that made it. Check out my music on SoundCloud, if you feel like it. Shameless plug over. Without further delay, I'm here at gunpoint to introduce this week's Benny Shakes Things Up. Without further ado, here's Benny.
But not Benny. I am wearing his shirt, but indeed I am not Benny. It's not actually Benny's shirt. It's a Benny-esque shirt. Hello, Internet. It's Kate. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's nice to see you all here. So, I could just chat, but that's just me talking to you. That's just me talking to you. And I'm not speaking into the void. So I'm going to get my guests on straight away. So I am joined today by two amazing female comedians, and we're going to talk all things Women's History Month and the gig we have at the end of the week. Stay tuned to find out more. So please welcome Bex Turner and Annabelle Edmonds.
Woo,
Hey!
hello.
Woo,
hi.
Hello. Hi, Bex. Hi, Annabelle. How are you?
Good. Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Excited to be here. Great.
How are you?
I am very, very well. Very sort of kind of going, yay. This is good. And I'm very excited for Friday, which again we will tease later. But yes, how are you both?
Good. I mean, I had an episode of chronic fatigue because, let's keep it on the theme of disability. I have long COVID and chronic fatigue. So I had last week, I had quite a bad bout, and now I'm coming out of the bout. So I'm appreciating coming out of the bout and being able to do quote unquote normal things again. So I'm in a chipper mood.
That's good. It's good. It's good that you're coming out. It's good that you're coming out of it. And how are you, Bex?
Yeah, not too bad. I don't think I've got anything to bring to the table really, but yeah, it's
small talk.
Nice to do stuff.
Yeah, it's nice to do stuff. I'm going to stop with my inane small talk and stick to the script. We don't have a script on this show. We have questions we'd like to ask you. So, Annabelle, you sort of covered it a little bit, but please, if you could tell the lovely folks at home a little bit about you, about your comedy, and also, if you don't mind my asking, what is your disability?
Great. Well, hi, I'm Annabelle. I'm a comedian based in South London who's been going for a year ago as of yesterday. I had my showcase yesterday. So I female comedian doing gigs. We were discussing before we came live, often maybe the only woman on a gig, and often certainly the only disabled woman who's maybe talking about it, or obviously disabled, or it's obvious to me, but maybe it's not obvious to other people. Because of course there are invisible disabilities. My disability is fairly new. So I, in April 2020, just to be on trend, got COVID before the vaccine. So I had full force of it, wasn't in hospital, but I've now been left with long COVID for the past almost 2 years. The way it affects me is very similar to ME. So I will get bouts of chronic fatigue, brain fog, pain, just no energy to do anything. And by anything, I mean, people go, oh, do you just lie in bed and watch TV? And it's like, no, you can't. You do not have the concentration to watch TV. It's a lot of just lying in bed, sometimes playing Candy Crush, sometimes not even that. Just thinking like, you just have to wait it out. There's nothing you can do. But as I say, I have the type which is not all the time, which I'm grateful for, but it's made me much more aware of the the adjustment, that's not the word. Just common sense and empathy that people should have for disabled people. I mean, I've been really lucky with my work. So I worked from home before the pandemic. I work from home during, and I mean, we're still during the pandemic. Come on, let's not kid ourselves. We're still during the pandemic, but no one is forcing me to go back to the office. Manager is saying, if you need to start a bit later because you're in pain, do that. Like there's just no faff, and it's so much easier than when I had poor mental health a few years ago at another job, where I had to jump through all these hoops. It was so much more stressful, and it was, no, you can't work from home, because how can anyone possibly work from home? You're not really working. To now, where my manager is great, and I guess one benefit, if there is a benefit of the pandemic, is that there's more awareness of things like chronic fatigue, where I know that people who don't have long COVID have for years been told, oh, it's all in your head. Oh, just exercise and you'll feel better. And that's not, you can't do that.
Possibly allow you to work from home. That would be too complicated. How could we do that it's easy. You've worked out exactly how easy that is.
Yeah, we could do it. And yes, so hopefully there is a bit more awareness and a bit more, empathy and common sense. I mean, there are some adjustments which are complicated, right? Or need a bit of money put in them. But a lot of the time you don't even necessarily need that. And this is a whole other discussion, but things like universal credit are designed to be complicated. They are designed to be difficult rather than making things accessible and helpful for disabled people. So yes, I would hope that people will, coming out of this, have a lot less patience for those systems and a lot more drive to, yes, let's do what we can to make things accessible and reasonable and kind to everyone, not just people with quote unquote disabilities, but everyone.
Stirring stuff. Brilliant first answer. What about you, Bex?
Hello, I'm Bex, or Rebecca Turner, and I do bits of stand-up with a slightly more surreal edge. So not your unusual, as I think we were talking about earlier on also before we went live, about it's not straight white man stuff, talking about like, I'm gonna get my girlfriend's a bitch. Oh, I hate her. I just do more weird stuff. I might look at normal stuff with a slightly more surreal angle, or just talk about stuff that I want to talk about, or stuff just because, like, why not? Because it's fun. The other type of more observational stuff, I just get a bit bored doing. And I'm not very good at doing it. I think, and also mentioned about like disability. I don't know. I think generally, I don't know. I think in recent years, I've maybe noticed it more, where I have bits of dyscalculia and dyspraxia, and maybe even like small elements of on the like more neurodiverse spectrum. However, I don't know, because I think it's hard. Like it might be hard to tell, because there are definitely elements there, but it's like I don't quite know where I fit in, because I don't feel, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is the right way to think about it, but I don't feel autistic enough. I don't know.
I personally don't think there's a wrong way to think about things like that and go. But if that's, particularly if that's your personal feeling about yourself, then I think it's kind of open to whatever you feel.
Okay.
Sorry, I've kind of killed the conversation there. But it's very important, because it will lead us into our first plug. I told you I'd tease you. It's so, what are we all doing? We are all doing Laugh Able this Friday. Once dead libraries. Look that way. If there's a way to hide me and not our guest, that would be great. Just talking to the text. That would be fantastic. With some fabulous people, emceed by Variety D, and amazing, and headlined by Bex, and Annabelle's going to be there, and I'm going to be there. And it's all going to be, and some amazing other people as well. So Get your tickets. There is a ticket link. If you QR code it, QR code, which is that thing we all should have been doing with the COVID app. When we checked into places that we didn't do, but we now all at least know how to do a QR code. Yes. So it's to celebrate Women's History Month with, sponsored by One Place East. Yes, thank you. I was going to say you can get rid of the thing now, but we'll keep bringing it up. And if you go below on our Facebook link, you will be able to see it as well. So that's fantastic. So yay for Women's History Month. So, question that is not in our regular thing, because we don't always have just female identifying comedians on this. How do you find being a woman in comedy, and specifically, how did you find getting into it as a woman? Was it kind of that kind of getting into comedy as a woman? Was it more difficult? Was it surprising? Was it different? I'm throwing the floor open.
Bex, why don't you start? I'm feeling like I'm
Yay.
doing an hour monologue on this.
Yay. Yeah, I like it when people just make decisions for me. Just tell me to do it. And I'm like, okay.
Do it. Go.
Okay, so I originally got into doing bits of stand-up at uni after I did a short weekend course for Laughing Horse, and then I was like, it was so nerve-wracking, and I thought when I first did my very first gig, my legs were like really like wobbly, like and then so it was really a nervous experience, and so I did it a few times at uni, but I think just because I wasn't quite confident enough in myself, because like I'm pretty awkward now, but like when I was 18 in my first year of uni, I was so shy, and it was like, oh no. And so after uni, I went to Brighton, and so I thought I'd do comedy a bit more then. In terms of maybe being a woman in comedy, I would say that initially I didn't really see anything too like too off, or too weird. But I say in recent years, I've definitely, I think maybe even post the first lockdown, I think it was just after that, I felt like sometimes that it kind of like the comedy scene had gone even more boys' club. And I felt with some gigs I felt a bit left out, and I hadn't really seen that before.
I would agree with that as well, because sorry to jump in. I would agree with that because I think also there is a level of like the ability to still do it, and it's that thing of, I know some people who it was their livelihood, you know, their main livelihood, their main kind of source of income. And after the first lockdown, it's like, well, I need to go and get a quote unquote proper job in order to kind of fund it and that kind of thing. And that has closed it down to more and more people who can afford to spend that time. And unfortunately, in many situations, it is kind of male, because women have traditionally and in you know, in general, have things like childcare things, and it's you know, having to look after young kids or caring responsibilities in the evening, and it's just kind of that thing of they have that, they don't have to do that, so it's kind of opened it up a bit. But yeah, what about you, Annabelle?
Yes, I think it's a really interesting point about the barriers that women face, because in terms of getting into comedy, the way I got into it was via a course, and that was the right way for me, because I basically lacked confidence, and without doing a course I would never have gotten on stage. But that course cost, you know, a fair amount of money, which I can afford, but obviously women are typically paid less than men, and yeah, with childcare, etc. I don't have kids, but many women do, and many women take on the caring responsibility, so maybe wouldn't have had time to do that. It wasn't something that I expressly thought about at the time, but maybe I should do. In terms of being a woman in comedy, now, please, can we agree like a visual signal for me to shut the fuck up, because I will talk about this on and on. Okay. Being
the visual signal, I'll tell you what the visual signal will be, is the This.
Excellent,
no.
great, lovely. Feel free to do that. Being a woman in comedy is I've been much more aware of being a woman than at any other point in my life. Because, as Beck says, there are loads of white men basically that saying the same thing, and you are often the only woman on stage. A lot of promoters, particularly in London, particularly in the open mic scene, are getting loads of applications. So they're not struggling to fill the lineup. And when you are getting, I don't know, 10 times the amount of men asking versus the women, you are often getting those unbalanced lineups. I've found going outside of London to gig, there's much more of a conscious effort, or at least a visible effort, being made to say we want a diverse lineup, which I find really good, but also really interesting, because I'm sure London would pride itself on actually being more diverse, but in many ways it's not, because the comedy scene is so vibrant that it means we don't really need to care about diversity. I've certainly found that men don't necessarily think about some of the barriers. So when gigs go on a lot later than you're thinking about, there's a safety issue which crosses your mind. You often have to have a bringer to do open mics in London. As it happens, my bringer is my husband. So I don't think I've had as much sexual harassment as other people have. However, I have had creepy men on Facebook message me. So don't do that, guys. I could go on about this forever, so I will leave you with one story and then it'll be it. I did a gig the other day, and I won't say which one, but I will off camera because I'm messy, but I don't want a lawsuit, which is, it was a lineup of 4 men and me and 2 other female comedians. And the MC said that the lineup was, quote, vagina heavy. Now, that is both misogynistic and factually inaccurate.
Good.
4 men and 3 women. And that's the thing he said to like my face, that he felt comfortable saying that. So yes, there's quite a long way to go. And if you are a male MC or a male comedian who thinks it's okay to make those jokes, don't do that.
Was that in front, like to the audience as well?
No, that was to all the 3 female comedians coming over.
Okay,
like,
I can't decide whether or not that's worse.
Yeah, I mean, at least in front of the audience, maybe they'd have turned on him.
No.
Yeah, no. So yeah, it's if you're going beyond token woman, it's seen of as this is, you're being diverse for diversity's sake. And I'd say to any promoter who's concerned about having a diverse lineup and looking as though they're box ticking, diverse lineups are genuinely always funnier. Like genuinely, you get a range of perspectives. You get a range of different types of comedians. You don't get 10 male comics one after the other talking about how their girlfriend was a bitch, but actually really I'm the bitch. Like, it's ironic. So yes, I would encourage diversity as a someone has said, did you pull the guy up then? That is such an interesting question. No, I didn't. And let me tell you, because I feel bad about that. I feel like maybe I should have done, and maybe I've let the side down. But also I feel like it's his responsibility not to be a misogynistic twat.
Did the other male comedians hear that?
Maybe one of them did, but he was, I'm checking my phone.
Well,
but, yeah.
I mean, he might have genuinely been checking his phone, but at the same time, no.
Yeah. I mean, what I've decided to do is mention it on stage, and that's what I'm gonna do. Not gig with the guy again, because I don't. But yeah, maybe I should have done more, and I feel bad not doing more. But at the same time, you think, oh, he's the MC, and I'm about to go on, and he's going to introduce me. So if I make a fuss, am I going to get a bad introduction? It was my first time doing that gig as well. And it's often a paid gig. So I'm thinking, I don't really want to rock the boat. Again, don't maybe I should have made a different decision, and maybe a braver person would. But those are the thoughts that are going through my mind, which a male comedian doesn't have to think about. So you've not done the signal, but internally, I'm doing the signal for you need to.
No,
shut up
I'm
now.
not doing this. I just there's always like a story, isn't there? Do you have any stories, Bex? I mean, I can come up with my own story while you think of yours if you want.
Okay, sure.
Basically, I did a competition, and I bought a bringer. For those of you who don't know what a bringer is, it's basically where you bring the person, you bring an audience member with you. And I brought somebody who I exchanged with on a Facebook site on Facebook, and kind of I said I'd go to their gig, they said they'd come to my gig, and we did it. They then I did the set, and then this male comedian explained to me why my jokes were funny.
Oh, God.
And I was like, and I was just kind of sat there with this look on my face going, oh, please tell me you're not actually explaining jokes that I've written down and thought about to be like, yeah, it's just that. I was just like, you're actually explaining my own jokes back to me. That is, I was like, this is the 21st century. Why are you doing this? Yeah. What about you, Bex?
Oh wow. I've been enjoying listening to your chats so far, particularly Annabelle and yourself, Kate. I think it's quite interesting how similarly how like maybe male comedians will try and like explain your jokes to you, or how they'll be like, oh, this the vagina heavy. And which I quite like name. We should like use that as our own phrase. Yay.
So we need to reclaim the phrase vagina heavy.
Vagina heavy, yay! He's not my brother. He's vagina heavy. Well, and so I often find that that audiences might treat you like male audiences will treat you a bit differently. For example, you might get I had a situation where a bloke you probably wouldn't have treated a male comedian like this, where he like I don't know who I was going through my set. I'm not too hyper, but I do get like fidgety fingers when I'm like talking to people, because I'm like, oh, cogs are turning, and like this guy was like, oh, are you nervous, love? You're nervous, and I was like, I'm on the outside, I was like, oh, it's okay, but inside I was like, will you just please, like, can you just actually F off, leave me alone? But like, obviously, because that female psyche, you don't do that. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, please. I just want to say, will you leave me alone?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask someone, are you nervous? That is fine. But yeah, I've had that, and it's just, are you nervous? Oh well, just do your best. What do you mean, just doing my best? No, I'm going to go out there and deliberately bomb. What are you thinking?
No, oh, you meet them, because I work at a race course, and like it's a certain type of man who are like, oh yeah, it's internal misogyny.
But I'm saying nice things, so it can't be bad.
Yeah,
I'm saying nice things.
I say sexist things to my wife, but it's fun because it's a joke, isn't it? Anyway, you know, any of this type, and it's like, anyway, yeah, but like, yeah, it's like, I'm sorry to hear about like the heavy vagina thing. That was weird.
The heavy vagina thing.
And Ashley, woo! And say Ashley, I would definitely like to visit Nottingham, because in the lockdown I met loads of cool Nottingham-based comedians. So I'd definitely love to come up there. Costs persist, and yeah. So yay.
Yay.
I know you just sound like a Belle, Ashley. I don't know if we're allowed to swear yet. So.
Oh, we are allowed to swear.
Oh, I've already.
I possibly forgot to say this is a very, very sweary podcast.
Okay.
We're allowed to swear as much as we like.
Okay. Well, I wish I told the bloke to fuck off.
Yay!
Yay!
That's being polite.
There you go.
There's some other things Annabelle mentioned, but I can't remember. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Well, while you're remembering, I'll just say that I gigged about a month ago in Nottingham for the first time, and it was lovely. Late stage comedy, John Morris. Give him a
it is
message.
nice. That's so good. That
Yes.
one. Yeah.
And
I've done
he
late
was-
stage comedy.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a good gig as well. Yes, well, yes,
Yes.
good gig, late stage comedy. We like them.
And I specifically got it because he said, this is looking like a sausage fest at the moment. Please, we need some diversity. So yeah, that's how I got it.
I do have to say, I'm looking on the Facebook these days. At least goes. There are some people that put out on the Facebook going, if you could not be a white man, that would be really, really good. Like literally when they try and put it out, going. But I think sometimes the thing is though, sometimes that call out is very much they must not be a white man, and sometimes it's like I preferably, and it's like I don't know whether preferably is worse in a way, because it's like, oh well, we'll take, I don't know if there was a point to what I was just saying there. I was just saying words. And if you want to hear me say more words, you can come Friday night, Wanstead Libraries, 7:30. Watch myself, Bex, and Annabelle, and some brilliant other comedians in celebration of Women's History Month. Yay! See, I'm good at the plugs.
Okay.
That was masterful. I enjoyed that.
Do you think that phrase should be worded better? Like,
Which,
to be like
Yeah,
more equal, saying like,
I
it
don't
shouldn't
know,
just
like-
be, shouldn't be straight white men, like, but
It's
would,
like-
should it be worded better?
should it be worded better? I don't know. It's the unless I really can't help it, and sometimes I'm like, you could, particularly in the nicest possible way when it's a London open mic, open 5. It's like you could just cut the night by 5 minutes. No one is going to cry. I mean that with respect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially London. You're quite right. There's no excuse. They've got so many people applying.
Yeah, it's just like you could find someone.
This reminds. Sorry, I'm
No,
doing this
please.
again. This has reminded me of a terrible fact. So I've been doing it for literally just over a year. I've realised I've seen more male comedians talk about abortion than I have seen Black female comedians at all in the open mic circuit. So that's a depressing fact.
Yes, I am very much with you. There is so much strain. That was going to be my next question. How do you feel when a male identifying comedian does jokes that you're like, it either makes you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or that kind of thing? I mean, sometimes the promoters are great and they'll get them off and be like, no. But sometimes, how does that make you feel when you enter a space and other comedians are making jokes that make you uncomfortable in that respect? Not that I'm saying women can't, but I'm just saying specifically men.
In terms of the subject matter, I don't think there's necessarily a subject that men can't joke about. But if you are going to speak about a quote unquote female subject, you better be great, and they're not. And in terms of things that make me uncomfortable because they're offensive, I often just sit there and complain afterwards. Again, I don't. Maybe this is a cop out, but I don't feel it's my job or that anything necessarily good will come of it if I say, "Hey, that was offensive." I mean, often I'm quite visibly not laughing, which that they will
You kind of
see.
you kind of hope that is the clue.
Yeah, but I'm
Sometimes,
not a
particularly when you're in the
promoter and I'm not an MC, and I sort of feel it's on them, if I'm honest. Because as I say, that while we're talking about internalized misogyny and, do I have a right to take up this space? As a woman, if you do take up that space, you will get pushback. that people have got quite aggressive with female community. Oh, you just don't get the joke, or you're trying to silence me, you're trying to cancel me when you're saying actually joking about murdering sex workers isn't it just why are you telling this joke? And those are honestly fairly common. I would hear, offensive stuff, misogynistic stuff like that maybe once a week. So it would be quite a lot of emotional labor for me to call that out all the time, and for not a lot of personal gain. Bex, what do you think?
Thank you, Annabelle. I very much agree with you on the misogyny side. I'd say luckily for me, because I'm based in Brighton, it's honestly not too bad. It's not like that bad. However, I will say, last year I took part in this little kind of weird game show for a European comedy festival, and it was like basically they had this like comedian and like a older male graphic designer who was supposed to be like judging our creative projects, like our fringe posters if we had a fringe show, that sort of thing. But like the older graphic designer decided to take it upon himself to kind of roast the people, but that really wasn't what they wanted him to do. And so like it was just weird, and like I think that was like the first time I experienced like where like a slight weirdness, or like I could sense something was off, and I was like, oh, because when I started talking, like I shut them down, and I was like, oh, can you please let the women speak, which was amazing. Woo. And then like he said like, and he like discussed on my poster, which finally you're supposed to do, and then like it started like roasting me, and he was like, then when he finished chatting, they were like, oh, well, of course she's one of those type. And I was like, what does that mean? I'm just wearing my dinosaur dungarees. But I was like, that was the biggest ick. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? She's one of those type. Oh, yeah, they're the dungies, yay! And that's a chainsaw from my Brighton show. Yeah.
Well, what's the name of your show, Bex? Before we lose that train of thought.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy intersection. Whoa, my show is Bex's Chainsaw Massacre at the Brighton Sussex Coast Fringe on 6th, 7th, and 8th of May, 6th to 7th, 8th of May, 6 to 7 p.m. Whoa! And if you want to find out more details, then please go on my social medias. Thank you. But
I didn't mean to derail your story. I was just like, we have to explain the chainsaw.
Oh yeah. It's a real chainsaw. It's just no battery. And so that was the first time where I was like, oh, like it was unusual for me to hear that, and I was like, but what was quite nice was that afterwards, when the comedians on that panel, the other acts like that, this graphic designer was being a dick to. Like there's one like other comedian who is known to have like perform in a wheelchair, and like he kind of started roasting him, but kind of like in a dickish manner. And so like another comedian afterwards like kind of like emailed me to like say like, oh, that was horrible, like, and like kind of stick up for me and be nice to me. And I just wanted to make sure the other comedian felt fine too, because like it was a weird experience, because like it was like the graphic designer had no place to roast when he was like, oh, okay, didn't know you were a stand-up too, 65-year-old man. Anyway, sorry, yeah, that's
that's fine.
Any men stories, Kate?
Any men stories? So many. No, it's
so many. Oh,
so many.
Yes,
it's just that there have just been situations. I would actually like to go back to something we all kind of said a little bit earlier, but at the same time, I did a comedy course, and I went back and viewed I was like, oh, I've done my comedy course, so I'm going to go watch another comedy course showcase because I thought it'll be similar kind of things to what I did and stuff like that. And I just want to see how it kind of goes. Different showcase, just to be clear, different showcase. And I just was like, I was sat there and me and people from the course came with me and we sort of did like maths and we were like, have 9 out of 10 of these all male comedians mentioned paedophilia at some point?
Yes.
And it was just like we were literally going. We were by the second bloke. We were like this. Okay. Oh, we've hit it. We've just gone. This isn't variety. It was just really, really odd and strange. But yeah, I think it's just like, what are you doing with your material and stuff like that? And then it's like roasting. And about 4 of those people did actually refer to someone in the audience looking like a paedophile.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why? Also, bearing in mind it was a dark room, they were at the front. You can't see this. But yeah,
to be clear, like you can joke about it, but I would say to all those edgy male comedians, like, everyone's doing a paedophile joke. Everyone's doing my ex-girlfriend's a bitch, but really I'm the bitch. And everyone's doing some sort of Nazi wordplay where you're not for the Nazis, but you're just mentioning them for no reason, just to get shock value. Yeah. Everyone is doing that. So don't bother if you want to be truly edgy.
No. So that was something that I was interested in, because you said you did a little bit of a yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm just saying, talking about the types of material we all come up with, I would very much like to see some cool ass women doing material about vagina heavy stuff.
Yes.
I knew edgy old term, like edgy females are like, oh, she's a bit vagina edgy, a bit heavy. I want to see that.
That's all right. I was just going to ask, because you said, Bex, that you did a bit of a comedy course. Annabelle, you said you started on a comedy course. I've just said I started on a comedy course. Do you think that's a specifically female thing, that we go, oh, I feel like I need to learn how to go out and do this first? I mean, or is it? I mean, the majority of people on the courses are still male, but I just found it really interesting that all 3 of us have done a bit of a course, or sort of a trial around confidence and stuff.
I don't think so. I think it's just more a thing that's kind of ingrained in the female identifying population. When they're much younger, they're like, oh, always saying sorry. Oh, they apply with confidence. Oh, I'm not good enough for that gig. Oh, is that all like that like chugs along of like, oh, don't want to look too confident. Oh la la.
Yeah, I mean you do have female comedians who are excuse me, really, really confident, and that's not a thing at all. But it's just that interestingness that we all sort of started on that. Yeah,
be good to get the stats.
I'd like to see the stats. Yes, I like the fact that you get the mask. Get the mask. Yeah. So I'm going to ask my very important journalistic question. That is my question that I only ask when we do Benny Shakes. When we do Benny Shakes, when Benny lets me come and play. We love you, Benny. It's so very important journalistic question. Really, really important and very relevant to Women's History Month. What is your favourite crisp?
Oh,
that pause is just me thinking.
Okay. Okay. Can I? Is it all right if I say mine first? Is that all right?
Go ahead.
Cool. So I think mine's quite controversial, because a lot of people I've heard like recently about like like how people like say like, oh, the Bounty is shit, like, and that's a new revelation to me, because like I wish it was like the Mars bar, but apparently people hate Bounties, which is sacrilegious. I think my favorite flavor is I love prawn cocktail. And I know that's kind of on the edge for a lot of people, which I found out recently, but I love prawn cocktail. But my new favourite discovery is actually the Red Leicester flavoured cheddars. Yeah.
What a
Go over
shout.
to you, Annabelle or Kate.
Annabelle, go for it.
I am going to say a crisp that I haven't had for literally 15 years, which is Skips. Because as a child, I had them like loads of break times. And I feel like as an adult, like it would be revealed to me that they're in fact shit. So I don't want to go back to them because for the nostalgia, I'm like, after brownies, like, yeah, Skips are the thing. I do have a story about Bounty being shit, if you were interested in
Go
that.
on. Go on.
Well, my dad used to work for Mars as a salesperson, and Bounty are part of Mars. So he was playing a rugby match, and my mum was sat in the car. They were in their early 20s, watching him. And he had all of his boxes of Bounties in the back. And she was so bored, she was like, I'm going to eat as many Bounties as I can. She ate 20 Bounties. Now, during that feast of Bounties, my dad was injured, went to hospital, went to A&E to get stitched up, came back. She did not notice the entire time and was like, where have you been? Oh, by the way, all the Bounties are gone, unrelated. And he was like, I've been to A&E. I've got stitches. Did you not notice? And she did not know. She's never had a Bounty since. So that's my story about Bounties.
Bounties distract you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annabelle,
go.
that was so riveting, Annabelle. And your story actually reminded me, I also have a Mars-related personal
Yes.
sad story. No, well, yeah, okay, weird story. So, wasn't as cool as eating, is it 20 Bounties, you said? Yeah.
Yeah, 20 Bounties. Yep.
So basically, I was at like one of my dad's friends / relatives' house, and like I got to pick whatever I wanted. So I got, you get those like really big chocolate bars, like for example, normal chocolate bar is like one log, but this was like a massive Mars bar, and so I ate it all, num num num, and I also had loads of other stuff that day. And when I was younger, I was prone to eating a lot, and so when I vomited it up in the evening, my vomit was like light brown. Chocolate coloured from the chocolate bar. It was like a pale kind of earthen cottagecore brown.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
brilliant.
nicest vomit has ever been described as.
Cottagecore. Yeah.
Cottage, lovely.
TikTok bomb.
Yeah. Yes.
What about
So
you, Kate?
I don't have any Mars-related stories, but I'll tell you about Venus and about the Wanstead Library. This Friday, 7:30. Are you still? Yeah, there we go. 7:30. Wanstead Library headliner Bex Turner and MC Variety D and Annabelle Edwards, as well as the brilliant Leslie Gold, Sally Ann Fellows, and Holly Hudson, and some loser called Kate Lovelock. Yeah.
What's your favourite crisp?
What is my favourite crisp? I love a Twiglet.
Oh,
I don't care if they don't count as crisps. It's my game. I'm choosing Twiglets.
Did you say the question to set it up so that you could have the edgy response?
No. Everyone, the thing is, I suggested this question, and both Benny and Mark assumed I would say Pringles. I've once had a routine where I had about 6 or 7 empty cans of Pringles going on within the routine. So they were like, yeah, because she'll bang on about how much she loves the Pringles. No, I decided to go with Twiglets, so they were like, oh, okay, that's not what we were expecting at all. I'm not being edgy, but I do like a Twiglet. Can't help it. Oh, apparently we're playing Jamie's Gamey, which is where these symbols will there was no warning for that. Just go and do some Jamie Gamey. Okay, so Jamie's Gamey. Jamie is a friend of Benny Shakes Things Up. He's a friend of the show, and he uses an AAC device, and so he uses symbols to create his sentences. So we have to guess from these symbols what that means. What sentence is he saying? I mean, that's
Shakes your head maybe from side to side.
shaky equals shaky. No.
Is it a well-known phrase?
I mean, they have been. As far as I'm aware, this is not the theme tune to Gladiators, which is a which is something that Benny says every single time about one of them, and I'm like,
Ooh,
it's
does
not
it mean
the
no
theme tune.
means no?
No means no. Yes,
Yay, well done. Yeah.
of
I'm
course.
thrilled about that. That'll take me through the week. Up until the gig.
That is skills. That is skills. I probably could have. Yes. So, no means no. That is getting back to be a woman and things like that. So I'm going to ask another question, which is vaguely journalistic as well, but at the same time, if you were president, this could be to do with being a woman. I'm gonna change the rules of this slightly and say being to do with being either a woman, being disabled, being a disabled woman. What is one thing you would change if you were president?
President or
President.
Like,
Like you had the. We could say prime minister, but Benny likes to say president because
but of this country.
of a principality, of an area that you can control, and probably to do this country. Yeah.
Bex.
Oh, maybe. Okay, so maybe if I was to be president, what I'd do, right? What I'd change is I'd bring back the fact that I would bring back in The Sims the fact that you should still be able to kill a sim by removing like the steps. I think that's so important. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. My answer is
That's
not going to
strong.
match that. I
I'm
was
sure it
thinking of
is.
trialing universal basic income, but that's boring as fuck in comparison. And honestly, not as important.
I like that.
Sorry.
I think they both have merits of their own. I like that.
Mhm.
I can never remember my answer, but I do know Benny's answer. So I will be a woman speaking for the man here. And say he just wants to ban stairs. He's
I
just
see
like,
that.
there's no more stairs. Just get rid of them. I was like, it's a good idea. Yeah.
What would you change? Oh wait, you're not sure, were you, Kate? Sorry.
No, I wasn't
Oh.
sure. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna nick Benny's
See,
answer. and say,
next
yeah,
a
why not-
man's
why not get
idea
rid
and
of
passed it off
stairs?
as your own. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh, amazing! You know, go off
Oh.
and you know that way it's more accessible for disabled people. You know, also if the Daleks ever do invade, you know, actually no, that makes it a bad idea, doesn't it? Yeah, don't do that.
Maybe you just need like one stair thing though. You just need
Yeah,
one place to direct
One
it.
stair thing so
One
that
stair.
you know, yeah. But yeah, that's a good plan. I'm just killing the conversation there. It's dramatically changed my opinion of you. Well, Mark, well, that's just going to have to. You knew that. I've sat on these on one of these before with a tub of Twiglets, eating away. So don't lie. Anyway, so I feel like I need to now ask you: do you have things you want to promote other than this Friday? Come along, you know, come on down to Wanstead Library for Women's History Month. Yay! Well, get your tickets. Please get your Eventbrite tickets. It's really, really important to get your Eventbrite tickets. So please do come along. They are free, by the way. They are free to get in. I should point that one out. Yes. So anything else you would like to promote? Any other gigs? Anything else? Please do use this moment as you will.
Bex, do you want to talk about what you're doing?
Okay, sure. As well as my Brighton Fringe show happening on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of May, 6 to 7 at the Round George's in Brighton. Oh, thank you, Benny Shakes Up. Wow. I also ran a monthly surreal night that Mark has actually performed at called Clog Comedy. Oh, look at that, Benny! Ooh, called Clog Comedy. And in our April show, just had a March show for International Women's Day. Well, I really realised ticket sales, which was amazing. Yeah. So for for April, as Brighton Fringe is coming up in May, I'm having a little kind of Brighton Fringe preview spectacular, and you can find all that on my Facebook comedy page at Rebecca Turner Comedy, or you could just message me on my Instagram at Bex Turner Comedy. Oh, I'm also doing Below the Belt on 7th of May in Brighton for the Brighton Fringe.
Yay!
So
Well, once again, once
Wednesday.
again, hope that you're on my team, because if you're not on my team, you will not win.
I will. I'll make
Because-
someone. Oh.
Because so be on my team, because unfortunately Mark never gets. I say unfortunately he never gets to win. I don't care. He never gets to win. I'm not that compassionate. And also, you know, Women's History Month. Why should I? Why should I say that he win? Why should I say that? Yeah. What about you, Annabelle? Have you got anything exciting coming up?
Yes, I'm just bringing it up now. I'm running 2 Zoom gigs on April 8th and April 19th. The reason we are back to Zoom gigs is because there is Think You're Funny competition coming up, which I'm in the first system. They have done the first heats on Zoom. So as a practice, I'm getting people to do some sort of one-off Zoom gigs. So if people want to come along to that, you may see the future winner of So You Think You're Funny. Some excellent talent may be there, or it may not, but it will definitely be a diverse lineup, which, as we've talked about, means the quality is likely to be higher.
Yes.
Yay.
Both of those amazing things. Yes. Come on. That sounds amazing. Yes. Love a Zoom gig. Love a Zoom gig. Love surreal comedy. That's amazing. So I can't think that there's anything else I need to ask you. But I'm probably going to get a message going, why did you not ask this question? But and I've gone because it's my night. Tonight is our night, and it's our rules. So you know, no. Any messages of support around Women's History Month before we go? Just yay! Hooray for women! Hooray for women!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hooray! Also,
Hooray.
men.
Away.
There's a place for you in Women's History Month. Be a good ally. Don't just let women do all the work. You are often the people who other men pay attention to. So be a good man. If you're going to be a man, be a good man.
Yes.
Also,
yes. Go.
Also carrying on from this, for like supporting women, like woo. Also, men, like I'd say it's important for you to realise, to know what the female gaze is versus what you think the female gaze is. All surprising. Kate, sorry.
No, I was going to say, on the note that you said, Annabelle, of allies. Yes, we have 2 brilliant allies running behind the scenes today. Obviously, we have Benny, and he's amazing, and we love him. And we have Mark, and he's all right. So thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks,
and thank
Ashley.
you, anyone who's been tuning in. It's been really, really lovely. I'm just checking.
Oh, yeah.
To see.
Promote yourself, Kate.
Do I have anything to promote myself? Well, you can go on Kate Lovelock Comedy on Facebook. Find me on Facebook, and I will at some point actually update my Facebook page, because I set up a Facebook post for myself very, very early in my comedy career, thinking I've got ideas above my station, and I really, really should get back to it. And you can find all the details of everything I'm doing, including more Below the Belts, on my Facebook page, as well as Below the Belts and the Undiagnosables. Yay! So I'd like to take this moment to thank Annabelle, to thank Bex, to say I'm going to see you in person on Friday. One more plug. Wanstead Libraries, Laugh Able, yay, come plug. There we are. Please get your tickets. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night. Bring your own booze. It'll be amazing. Just brilliant lineup. Please come along. You will have an amazing time, I promise. And I don't make these promises lightly. So I'd like to thank Annabelle. I'd like to thank Bex. Thank you everyone for watching. Good night.